Hey gamers, Stone Monk here, breaking the silence after a couple of months. Apologies for not having more videos out. I know there's a ton of stuff that's kind of hanging out in the air that well, I'm assuming you want to see given some of the feedback you've given me. Um, uh, and I hope to be getting back to some of that soon. I was just on Warhammer Weekly this past Wednesday. Go check that out. We're talking about death and played Death at Adepticon this past week, my first Adepticon ever. So we talked a little bit about Adepticon as well. And yeah, so go check that out. I was making the joke on there that I've done more Warhammer Weekly over the past couple of months than I've put out my own videos for Mortal Realms or for whatever. So apologies again. So I wanted to catch up, and I also wanted to use an opportunity. It's always good to have kind of little motivations. So Vince just put out a topic of the week on what is your favorite part of making an army in whatever game system. For me, it's Age of Sigmar. So I'm going to answer that in this as well. Couple of things. Obviously, I want to get back to some Renown and Ruin. Yeah, Renown or Ruin videos. There's been some really good feedback and some stuff coming in, so I'm excited to see where that goes. And our gaming group is going to be getting back together for our penultimate game in our current campaign. We just want some good wrap up points, that sort of stuff. So we'll be getting there pretty soon. And so I want to kind of talk a little bit about, what I'm going to be building for that and et cetera. There's the lead up to Adepticon and building kind of my new Death Army under the Legion of Nagash battle tome. Talk a little bit about that on Warhammer Weekly, but I would love to dig into that a little bit more. That was a lot of fun, kind of building a list. And while it ended up I didn't seem to hit any hard as nails lists. I ran up against Zilflin, but not Zinch or Stormcast or Fire Slayers this time around. Although I've run up against Kenny Lowell's Fire Slayers in some practice games. I ended up doing all right, so I'd love to talk about that some more and what's going forward. I've got a ton of work to building some terrain, so those are going to be some of my projects. I know, but you want to hear about the Drukhari drawn, so I know there's a bunch of stuff, and I hope to be continuing that. So stay tuned. Let me know in the comments below what of those are exciting for you. What helps you get your hobby juices flowing? Because that's why I post these videos. I'm perfectly content hobbying in my own little dungeon and posting images on Twitter once in a while, but I just always am trying to figure out ways to encourage and get juices flowing in the community. So let me know what of those I should prioritize. I also want to put a plug in a new channel on YouTube that you have to go and watch, and that's the Mitzi and Jimbo Show. I'll provide a link down below, but go check it out. Go subscribe. Once you subscribe to their channel, they want to put get a better URL and stuff, etc. These are two guys that I've been working with for the past year on Coalescence, certainly amongst a bunch of other guys. But when I found out that they were coming to the U.S. For Adepticon over a year ago, I was so excited, but I couldn't even prepare myself for what they bring to the community over Twitter and whatnot, but what they brought to the community in a live atmosphere. And as you know, Mitzi won, or you may not know, Mitzi won best sportsman in the GT at Adepticon out of 164 players. And Jimbo is right up there. So if Mitzi wasn't there, Jimbo probably would have won it. Those guys are fantastic. They're a ton of fun. They're brothers from across the pond, and go check out their channel, the Mitzi and Jimbo Show. Who knows what they're going to come up with? I do know it sounds like they're going to be reviewing some beers, so or drinks, whatever. So go check it out. All right, let's get to the main question. What is my favorite part about building an army? I don't have one favorite part. an army starts for me from the concept, from what is this army going to be, and that concept is like the Large Hadron Collider. It's when these two concepts come together and they smash in such a way that it makes my brain explode. Whether that be, you know, ogres and Tyranids, ogres riding Tyranids, and finding that to be a good, you know, 101. Whether it be my death, where every unit is an opportunity to convert some other unit from some other army into something dead. And this next army is the Drukaridon Overlords. I've also got a pirate Flesh Eater Court army that I'm excited about using the Goblin Town stuff from Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. So it always starts with that concept, and that concept is always a story. That concept is always this. The army itself is a character in a story, a book, or in a movie kind of feel, and then, you know, within that are these characters and personalities that come out of the plastic. I'm usually working with plastic, so it's stuff that I'm inspired by the sculptors and the game developers of Games Workshop, and you know, that's where it starts for me. Every army starts with that story and this idea of, can I put these two things together, or can I do this army in such a way that, one, certainly that it's unique, but that's not even what I mean, certainly there's some aspect to it that uniqueness is an aspect of what a byproduct of it that I end up loving. But it's always this idea, and the reason unique's not the biggest thing is I would love it if other people took those ideas and did it themselves. Like, I have no feeling of like ownership in that sense. Anyway, that's the first part for me. Then it comes like just the sourcing, like the going around and looking on websites, looking online, researching what the different bits are, seeing if anybody has them, you know, that sort of stuff, like finding all the pieces that I need to put this together, hunting them down, saving up for it, creating a list of all those things and what the prices are, and, you know, like checking them off as I buy them. So there's a procurement aspect that it just helps build up that anticipation, right? I love building. Now, a lot of that times that conversion is that thing, sink your teeth into something meaty. But even on, when I think of the Drukaridon, I'm just working with these models and I'm trying to get the most out of them. So often what I'll do is especially, you know, a battle line unit or something to that effect, is I'll cut out and you know, all of the pieces, and I'll lay them next to each other. And I'll try, you know, Vince says he likes to build them all the way that the instructions say. I throw away the instructions. I rarely use the instructions unless it's like a super complex build. But for instance, the Vanguard Hunters for the Stormcast, those capes and those kind of go with specific backs, but the backs can switch to different fronts and are interchangeable. And so with those, you know, there's 5 in a kit. And so I think I had 10 to start with. And so I think I did maybe line the first one that, you know, wherever they say the first 5 of those and the capes that go with those. But then the next time I had the 5, you know, torso fronts out, and I took these and I just, you know, swapped them, or I just shifted them one, or whatever it is. And I just did that to make sure that not a single one would be the same. And I've got a bunch more, and I'm continuing to kind of do that shift. After a while, you see them and it doesn't really matter that much. But then beyond the torso, then it's like, well, what weapons? What weapons, you know, the fronts are there's 5 different fronts. It's not a ton. So making sure that, you know, the prime in each of those groups isn't the same, you know, torso, that sort of stuff. So I love just kind of digging in, making sure every one of them's unique, that they're posed in a unique way, and that where I can give them character, where I can do swaps, where I can, you know, specialize or whatever. I try and do that, you know, and so I like digging through the bits and making that happen. Next then is priming. Just kidding. I don't do that much priming. I thought I'd throw some people off with that one. I do enjoy painting. My painting, what I love about painting is it brings them to life. But for me, often my same philosophy with conversions is that, you know, the finish of it needs to be exactly enough to make it believable and for people to buy it. I'm not looking to be a master sculptor. I'm not looking to have pristine, like, I'm not looking for my conversions to look like they were made by Games Workshop. I just want people to believe the impossible. And so the same with paint is, and I'm as I'm learning to paint more, I'm becoming a better painter. But being a better painter isn't my goal. However, in each of my armies, there tends to be something that I don't know how to do that helps sell the army. So, for instance, with the beast claw, or my bug claw, the ogres and tyranids, there was just a coloring for the bugs that I needed to work out and make those colors work. And it was an orange and a pink that needed to work together for the flesh. And I needed to figure out how to do that. And also with the carapaces, some different washes and dry brushing and all that kind of stuff to make it all work and fit. There was a little bit of sculpting in there, but it was a lot more of just kind of posing and that sort of thing. Then in my death, I mean, the kind of that's where I did well, it started with death, but then I worked that into the bug claw. But I mean, the bug claw had a ton of wet blending. Almost every inch of that thing is wet blending that isn't carapace, and so all of that has now worked into all of my armies to where there's wet blending in every army that I have. The bug claw also had a ton more freehand. You know, those sort of things. So there's always something more that I learn, a technique that I focus on for each of my armies, and that helps me become better. And so I do enjoy the process of becoming better, but becoming better isn't my goal. I did have the opportunity at Adepticon to, you know, see the crystal brush stuff, and it was a very there's certainly some stuff that was submitted that I didn't think was at the top of the you know, tier of painters, but it inspired me to say, you know what, you could enter something in here. You could take a moment, try a little bit harder, make painting a focus, and I don't believe that it would you know, make the cut, but it would certainly be something that people might enjoy. Again, I'm always looking for ways to inspire people, so I think I could use that as an opportunity to inspire the people too. I don't know. Then list building. When I first build an army, though, I'm not looking for, I mean, there's, at some point, I'm like, okay, what can I build from this that's going to play well? But for most part, I'm looking aesthetically, again, from the storytelling point of view. When I have conceive of the army, I also want to know, like, what stuff is going to display well on the table. I want lots of different levels. I want tall stuff and medium stuff and short stuff. And then getting it on the table, rolling the dice, playing with it. I love telling stories. I love making the narrative. I love, you know, interacting with other people. So there really isn't an aspect of building that I don't enjoy. Nobody loves cleaning mold lines, but I kind of take shortcuts on that too. Sometimes I don't clean every mold line. I tend to assemble everything together and then clean the mold lines that are visible. Everybody misses some. But there's you know, a little bit of zen to just getting you know, I've got some stuff in my cabinet that I'm just waiting to have an opportunity to get into, and I can't wait to get it all, you know, get it all laid out, snip things out, you know, scrape off the mold lines and glue it together and pose it and get it ready to be on the table. I don't enjoy basing that much. I tend to want my bases to recede so that my models pop. There's a part of me that would love to do clear base, you know, those clear acrylic bases, so that whatever, you know, the gaming mat that they're on is their base. That said, I really love attaching them to the base to where they stand up. I like that kind of where they've been painted. And so often for like battle line or that sort of stuff, I'll get the basing done first so that I can glue them on before I paint them. Because I love it when they stand on their own and I can set them all out and that sort of thing. my probably absolute favorite thing to do, and this is going to sound kind of vain, but I hope you, from everything I've said so far, you just keep in mind, my goal is to inspire people. I love taking photos of stuff that I've created and sharing it. I love posting it to Twitter and seeing, you get a couple of comments, but I hope that it inspires people. And so, I think more so on Facebook, you get the comments where people say, "Wow, that's a great idea. I'm stealing that. I'm going to go do that." And people then post the pictures that they've created. So I think my most favorite is not because of vanity, not because I'm looking for, because I don't know, I've created it. I mean, I've created it for myself. But when it becomes something that the community enjoys, I do get plenty of, I'll definitely, when I was at Adepticon, I had a lot of people coming in and looking at my army, saying they've seen it online, oohing and awing over it. And that means a lot to me. And I love it, but that's not why I made it. Getting recognition, I made it into the top 10 armies or whatever it is, best looking, put it on tables. That might have been 15. I could go look at the number again. And that was really cool. And I'll talk about that, down the road, but that's not why I do it. I do it to inspire. I do it to, so that somebody else gets the blood to build a Death Army, maybe a different way, or even the same way. I don't care if they build it the same way. I was, talking with somebody about, I have created some Chaos Warrior Graveguard, and somebody else had too. And it was fun to just talk about, like, well, what swaps are you doing, and how are you using that, and how are you making them look cool? And they gave me some ideas because I was looking for the great weapons and that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I enjoy that too. I don't have this feeling of like it's all mine and you can't have it, but I like to follow my dream, follow whatever's in my head, and see it come to life. So, yeah. So, favorite thing is sharing my army with the community and the things I'm building, so that they are inspired and they can share their army with me. But least favorite thing is probably basing, doing anything above kind of the minimum standard of, I mean, I don't want it to be just flat with a couple of pieces of flock. I try and make it feel unique and different and whatnot. But I want it to be easy and simple and something I can do across an army. But I often want it to recede. I don't want it to pop. Maybe that'll be different in a future army where I want to focus on bases. But for now, that's my jam. So anyway, that's what I love. Those are the things that I love about making an army, and some of the things that I don't like about making the army. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you love or don't love down in the comments below. If you have a channel, make a video, respond to the topic of the week that Vince Venturella proposes on his channel. It's a great way to just kind of get content out there. I always lament not making a video on those because they're great conversation starters. Again, I'll have some more content coming up in the coming days and weeks. Courage on Overlords, Renown or Ruin, some Adepticon recap, some Legion of Nagash, army build stuff that I've been working on. Again, go watch the Warhammer Weekly video where we're breaking down kind of post-Adepticon thoughts and feelings about the Legion of Nagash. Also, go check out June 23rd is I've got to put a video out on this for the Coalescence. It'll be the third Coalescence event. I'm so proud to be a part of that and see the guys that are currently running it knocking it out of the park. You're going to be so excited if you're participating. So more videos are coming soon. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, share the video, encourage other people, motivate them, all that kind of stuff. But that's it for right now. We'll talk to you soon.